Hey guys, it's Mario from WATL, and today we have the honor of speaking to the 2020 Big Axe World Champion, Zach Crawford. Unlike other throwers, Zach starts off by telling us he likes a much heavier axe. I've never heard this tip from anyone before, is Zach actually throws with his hip. So he puts his hip into every single one of his throws.
I was gonna wait until we get more into the video, but yeah, I throw with my hips instead of my shoulder. I lift all the time, so my shoulders get wear and tear. So I actually pivot from my hip. I use more of my hip than my shoulder. I kind of use a heavier axe anyways, because I just prefer it. So in order to go throughout a whole tournament or a whole weekend, you know how it is. So I line up my right shoulder with the bullseye and my right shoulder with the kill shot whenever I'm going up. I used to throw with glasses a lot, and I would notice I used to line up my chest with the bullseye. It'd be going right because it's just a natural instinct to move your head, and then I've got a little bit more room over here, so I don't want to hit my glasses and cause a deflection. Scooted over to the left, lined up my right shoulder. So even if I do make that little twitch and little nod where it's going right, it still ends up in the middle. My pinch grip is actually kind of a little bit different. I kind of compare it to how I hold a pencil. I'm the only person to hold a pencil like I do. I wrap my middle finger around it and not my index. I hold kind of high. Yeah. I have the butt end rest. So I'm resting here, and I like to bounce it. Yeah. Hold it super light, pinky all the way at the bottom. Really? There's a slight curve, and this was by accident. This is one of Greg's handles, curve back, and I kind of like that because it just sits back.
What's interesting about Zach is he probably has one of the best headspaces I've ever seen out of any thrower before. And you'll see in this next clip is that he could not imagine not winning.
I'm not gonna lie to you, that Worlds was the most focused I've ever been. I've never felt that feeling before, without a doubt. Manifestation, I manifest the whole situation. Couldn't imagine myself not winning. When it was time to show up, I just was in my zone, just tunnel vision, and it felt great.
What he sees between a really good thrower and a great thrower is simply the mindset.
As top throwers, there's only so much you can do to change your game. What separates good from great, and I put a few people in the great category, like Smith, Phil Bond, Kump when he wants to. I kind of struggle with that. What really helps me get in a rhythm, I like to start off just focus on my bullseyes, because once I hit my bullseyes, my kill shots it's easy. If I can hit all 8 or 9 of my bullseyes, I'm in my zone. Repetition does it for me. That's my next step in becoming great, is tackling the mental aspect of it.
What's interesting, what Zach told me, was that he actually doesn't like to practice. And no other thrower, no other top thrower, whether he's a good thrower or a great thrower, I've ever heard say this, but he actually likes to practice the day of. The way Zach sees it is he's at this level, along with many other throwers, that whoever's going to win that tournament is whoever's good that day.
This is a huge topic between my small group and of axe throwers. Is everyone says I'm wrong, but this is my strategy. I don't usually practice because I just don't have the time. I'll do a league if I can. I don't practice until day of, because I'm a firm believer of whoever is throwing the best that day is going to win. Whenever we have practice time, before tournaments, I just solely focus in on that day. So I just like to focus on the tournament instead of practicing throughout the week.
What Zach recommends is to practice a lot very early on until you get to a certain state of mind and you get to a certain point in your game where you reach a certain threshold. Once you get to that threshold and you're getting consistently high scores in the 60s, then that's when you switch over and fully focus on the mental game.
I think it's kind of like what we just touched on. When you're just getting into the sport, it's just like anything. Practice till you figure out what works best for you. And then obviously I'm different, but I just like to, focus on my rhythm that day of the tournament. But just getting comfortable with being uncomfortable is really what put me, to a consistent top, middle of the tier thrower. Because man, there's two parts of the game. There's skill and then there's nerves, and getting comfortable with those nerves will take you very, very far.
Zach got into Big Axe just for fun. He absolutely loved it, and he believes that the sport is moving towards specialists. He considers himself a specialist in the Big Axe category.
when Big Axe came around, it was supposed to be fun. I threw Big Axe a couple times at ITF and I thought it was cool, but now it's its own discipline. I was like, oh, this is great. It's just so fun to me. It's less stressful.
Yeah.
It's so fun. It's only 5 throws instead of those very, very stressful 10 throws. Honestly, my practice was practicing with the Timber Beast crew. They would all be throwing hatchet. We would do like tournament. We have like 10 people, just random tournaments. I would throw Big Axe against their hatchet and I'd win a lot of the times. Just having fun with it. I believe if you're doing something for fun, you know, you're going to succeed at it more than, you know, something that you feel like you have to do. I believe that there's going to be a lot more specialists in this sport.
Yes.
And I'd be the first one to tell you I'm a Big Axe specialist.
Thanks a lot for tuning in, everyone, hearing tips from the 2020 World Axe Throwing League Big Axe Champion, Zach Crawford. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, hit the like button on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. Stay tuned for any tips, updates, product releases, or new information that we're going to be releasing in the upcoming months. Stay tuned, everyone. Thanks again for the support.